I will just see if it is.
We are fine. हाँ वच हाँ भाई वाईफाई है मेरे चलना कहीं So let us start with the major concept, basic point. We'll study which are the important and expected questions that are going to come. Okay, that part will focus on. Okay, so first we have to remember the basic question before we move on to the topics. आमका basic question आमचे basic clear असून जाय. पहिली कितें utility. What is utility? Utility means any goods and services after consuming that जे आमकां satisfaction मेळटा, जे आमकां relaxation मेळटा, तेका आमी म्हणटा utility. Okay, after consumption of any goods or services जे आमकां satisfaction दितले after consumption of any goods and services जे आमकां satisfaction गावतले, that is termed as utility. Okay, after satisfaction we are going to get is called utility. Okay, or basic. This question might will be asked for 2 marks or MCQ eligible. Now agent आता कितें derive जाता, certain things आसा after utility, certain things are deriving from utility. So there is a concept of total utility and there is a concept of marginal utility. ये दोन concept याद उरूंक जाय. What is the concept of total utility and what is the concept of marginal utility? The total utility म्हणजे की आहे, the all exact amount of satisfaction, the exact amount of satisfaction we are getting after consuming the good. Okay, that is called as total utility. आमकां exact amount of the satisfaction जो आमकां गावता. Okay, if it is 100 after consuming one good तुमकां 100 satisfaction गावता, that is called total utility. Means exact satisfaction you get after consuming any goods or services. Later, what is marginal utility? Now आम्ही एक goods consume केलो, आमकां satisfaction गावली, it is called total utility. Now you are adding one additional unit, adding one additional unit to your total satisfaction, to your total utility. When you eat after getting total satisfaction, आम्ही आणि एक good consume करता. आमच्या total utility आम्ही आणि एक addition करता. We are adding one more unit to our total utility. That is called marginal utility. So this concept should be clear. What is utility, what is total utility, and what is marginal utility. Now this question might be asked for 2 marks. That a question you shakta, what is utility or explain utility. So when this question come, you have to write the meaning of utility first. That is after consuming any goods and services, the satisfaction we get is called utility. But तेजे भितर you have to write utility can be divided as total utility. Okay, or it is classified as total utility, and total utility means the exact amount or the total amount of the satisfaction we get after consuming any goods and services. It is called total utility. And what is marginal utility? An additional unit that we add to our total unit. म्हणजे आमकां satisfaction आम्ही आणि एक add करता, that is called marginal utility. Okay, हो कॉन्सेप्ट झालो क्लियर. आणि नेक्स्ट आमच्याकडे कितें आसा, from this you have to remember the law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility. Diminishing marginal utility. This question 6 marks are at law. So जेन्ना तुमकां क्वेश्चन आयलो लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल युटिलिटी, what are the things you have to remember? First thing तुमकां कितें बरोवंक जाय, this law was given by Alfred Marshall. That you have to write. This law, or you can state it that the law of marginal utility, diminishing marginal utility, is was given by Alfred Marshall. Then second point you can write, marginal utility. You have to write the meaning of marginal utility. Marginal utility means adding additional unit to our total utility. This you have to write like this. You have to write. Then what the third point you're going to write? You have to write the meaning of law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility. I'm writing the short form. To be full form, bara. Diminishing marginal utility states that what it states, the additional consumption we consume, तर आमकां सेम सॅटिस्फॅक्शन गावना. अगेन आय एम टेलिंग, इफ वी कंज्यूम वन गूड आमकां एक सॅटिस्फॅक्शन गावता. नाव द सिमिलर गूड वी आर कंज्युमिंग सेकंड टाइम, वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट द सेम सॅटिस्फॅक्शन. द सॅटिस्फॅक्शन विल डिक्रीज. That is known as law of diminishing marginal utility. So law of diminishing marginal utility states that the continuous consumption of similar unit for a longer period of time will result in decrease in marginal utility, or decrease in the level of satisfaction. Decrease in the level of इतले तुमकां लॉ ऑफ मार्जिनल युटिलिटीचे याद उरूंक जाय. हेजी मिनींग कितें? लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल युटिलिटी स्टेट्स that if the continuous consumption, if we are consuming same goods again and again for a longer period of time, for a longer period, we are consuming one good, then we are consuming second good, then we are consuming third good, it is a longer period of time, it states that it will result in a decrease in level of satisfaction. तुमकां same satisfaction गावचे ना, satisfaction decrease जातले. Now you can write third point as, so this question is of 6 marks. तुमकां व्हडलो फ्रेम करूंक जाय आनी व्हडलो बरोवंक जाय. How you are going to write? You have to write, this law can be defined through the table. Now you have to draw a table. Now how you are going to draw the table? Okay, here you have to write goods consumed, and you are going to write marginal utility. Okay, इतले बरोवंक जाय तुमकां. Now then you have to add some numbers. आतां तुमकां इतले कितें म्हणटा, तुमकां इतले तरी तुमकां फ्रीडम आसा. You can add your own numbers. You don't need to by heart anything. Okay, now you can add, if you consume first good, the total marginal utility is, suppose, 50. Then you consume the second good, total marginal utility is 20. When you consume the third good, total marginality is 10. When you consume the fourth good, the marginal utility becomes 0. And when you again, if 0 जाऊन मी marginal utility consume करता आणि goods consume करता, suppose the fifth good you are consuming, then it will result in negative. Now this is a tabular representation of law of marginal utility. Now you have to draw a graph showing this table. Now how you can draw this graph? You have to make like this a graph. You can state y-axis, x-axis, 0. Then you mark 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, Here it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth good is also we are okay. Fifth good only. Then here you have to write a negative also. Okay, comes to negative representation here, -10. Now first, when we consume first good, what here you have to remember, you have to write marginal utility, and here is the total goods consumed. कितले goods आम्ही consume केला. Okay. So when we consume the first good, what is the total marginal utility? It is 50. When we consume the second good, what is the total marginal utility? It's 20. And when we consume the third, the marginal utility becomes 3. And when we consume the fourth, then the fourth kata marginal utility kita आता 0. And this point where the marginal utility is 0, it is called, what it is called? Can anyone tell why marginal? It is called point of state, where the marginal utility is 0, and the further consumption will result in negative marginal utility. Okay, here you can show to get the exact table. Here you can show first consume केला तुमका काय होता 30. If you all show the 30 सांगले जाल्यार तुमका सारको येतलो graph. Okay, direct straight येतलो. This is how you can show your marginal utility with the help of graph. Okay, now इतले बरोवन काबार जायना. Then you have to write now you have to explain this graph. After writing this, तुमचो काबार जायना. This question is for 6 marks. You cannot leave it like this. तुमका कितें करूंक जाय, तुमका graph explain करूंक जाय. The graph कशें explain करते? In above graph, y-axis represents marginal utility, x-axis represent total goods consumed, total goods consumed. Or first point बरेला explanation. Then second point तुम्ही किती बरेतले? When we consume the first good, the total utility was 30. The maximum satisfaction. You can write it here, maximum satisfaction. When we consume the first good, the total utility was 30. When we consume the second good, the marginal utility decreased to 20. You have to write down like this. When we consume the third good, the marginal utility decreased to 10. And you can write again, next point you can consider. When we consume the fourth good, the marginal utility became 0. And it is called point of state. And the further consumption, that is the when we consume the sixth good, our marginal utility was negative, that is -10. Now how you can write it? इतले बरोवन जाले जाल्यार तुमकां आनी एक note बरोवंक जाय. You can make it as a note and you can write as, from this law we understood that when we consume the goods again and again, the marginal utility goes on decreasing, and it may, and the continuous consumption may lead to marginal utility to become 0. Okay, तुमची satisfaction ना तुमका आवडत होता मागीर 0. That is called point of state. Then you can write the further consumption again, even after becoming 0, it will become negative. ओके, म्हणजे कितें, जेन्ना आमी मार्जिनल युटिलिटी एकूच गूड परत परत कंज्यूम करता, आमची मार्जिनल युटिलिटी काय जाता कमी जात वयता. आनी एक आमी कंटिन्यू केले जाल्यार एक टायमार ती कितें जातली, 0 जातली मार्जिनल युटिलिटी. एंड एट अ पॉयंट, एक पॉयंट येतलो that मार्जिनल युटिलिटी become negative. इतले पॉयंट्स तुमकां याद दवरूंक जाय. दिस क्वेश्चन यू हॅव टू फ्रेम फॉर 6 marks and write. Okay, now what are the important questions that you can get from this? Okay, next you can write, let us see the syllabus. Now you next question, the 6 marks येऊ शकतात, that is law of demand. Now, what is law of demand? You have to remember first. Again, you have to state that this law was given by Alfred Marshall. Okay. Now, second point you can say that now you can write the meaning of demand. Demand means what? Demand means total goods and services a consumer is able or willing to buy. Means to buy करू शकता based on the income, based on given income. So what is demand? Demand means the total goods and services a consumer he can purchase with the given income. त्याची इन्कम कितले असा ते इन्कमाचे तो कितले goods and services consume करू शकता घेऊ शकता. That is called demand. Now you have to write the law of demand states that the law of demand states that when there is rise in price म्हणजे जेव्हा प्राइस वाढता डिमांड किती जातले the demand will decrease. The demand will decrease. म्हणजे जेव्हा प्राइस वाढता गुड्साची the person start reducing the demand. ते पैसे घेना ते goods. The demand starts reducing. And you can write when price is less. जेव्हा प्राइस कमी असता गुड्साची then demand increases. This you have to write. Then you can have to write this law can be explained with the help of tabular representation. Okay, this law can be explained with the help of tabular representation. Now you have to draw one table for this. Okay, we'll continue here only. We'll not take another page. Law of demand. Now what is the tabular representation? How you are going to show the tabular representation? You can mention it as price and demand, quantity demanded. Now you can write it as when the price was 10, example, okay, the goods demanded was 50, and when price decreased to 6, the quantity demanded was, okay, when price decreased to 8, you can write the quantity demanded was 6. What it is when price is low, now price is low, then the demand will be increase. Okay, when price is 8, demand is 60, and when price is 6, demand increase to 70, and when price is 4, demand is 80, and when price is 2, demand is 90. So from this we can see as the price decreases, demand increases. जसे जसे price कमी जाता, demand increase जाता. Okay, this we can show with the help of graphical representation. So to draw graphical representation. So तसेच same. Okay, सारखे काढूया. This will be y-axis. This will be x-axis. This will be price. This will be quantity demanded. Now you have to write this price 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay, जाऊ ना graph टाक बोलला सर. We have to reduce the number. then it will be what? 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Here it will be quantity demanded. How you can write quantity demanded? 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. When the price was when the price was 10, the quantity demanded was 50. And when the price was 8, the quantity demand was 60. When the price was 6, the quantity demand was 70. And the price was 4, quantity demand was 80. And when price was 90, the price was 2, the quantity demand was 90. From this graph we understood as the price decreases, जसे जसे price कमी जाता तर की आता quantity demand increase जाता, आमची demand increase जाता. This you have to attach all these lines, you have to attach. Okay, when you draw with a proper scale it will come up like straight line itly. Now I'm drawing with free hand so it is not coming proper. Here you can write the law of demand like this. You can write, and then zauna kabaramche, then you have to write the explanation. Again same how we did for the marginal utility. The y-axis represent the price, x-axis represent the quantity demand. Then you can write when the price of the goods was 10, the quantity demand was 50. And when the price of good was 8, the quantity demand was 60. When the price of good was 6, the quantity demand was 70. And when the price was 4, the quantity demand was 80. And when the price was 2, the quantity demand was 90. So from this above graphical representation we can say the price, as the price decreases the quantity demand increases. Okay, this is the law of demand. Everyone, you all can take a screenshot if you all want, or you can just refer this video and write whatever I'm giving. Okay, I'm just teaching what are the important point. Okay, now from here you can also add if you all want. इथले बरेला जाल्यार चलता. If you write this much it is okay. If you want to write more point you can just add factors responsible for change in demand. Factor responsible for change in demand. So what are some factors responsible for change in demand? You can write. First one will be the price changes. जसे जसे price change जाता demand वयर सकल वयत रावता. When price is low demand is more, when price is high demand is less. Second you can write change in taste preferences. Change in taste and preferences. From here we understood जसे जसे लोकांचे taste आणि change जावत रावता the demand changes it. Then you can third point you can write some natural calamities. Some natural factors may have changed demand. Okay, इतले याद रावंक जाय. This part you all can write. Now you have to remember certain goods. Okay, for example we can take first type of goods. The types of goods you have to remember. The first type of goods is normal goods. Now what are normal goods? Normal goods are the goods whose price remain constant even if the price changes. म्हणजे कितें नॉर्मल गुड्स इज अ टायप ऑफ गुड दॅट तेंची डिमांड आसा पळय ती नॉर्मल रावता. गुड्स whose demand. Okay, I'll write it in a proper way. I'll write it again. Okay, What is a normal good? First, you have to write normal good. What is normal good? Normal goods are the goods whose price remain, sorry, whose demand remain constant. Constant म्हणजे same. Demand same असतं. Change जायना. Constant even when the price changes. Okay. And the goods, inferior goods. What are inferior goods? And you have to remember that normal goods have positive relation with income. Normal goods have positive relation with income. Now, what is this meaning when it has a positive relation with income? It means if income increases, the price of this good will decrease. Sorry, the price of this good will increase. Much demand for this good will increase. If the income is less, the demand for this good will decrease. You can write this point, okay? Okay, first let us understand these goods, then we can go on some other parts also. Dia, first let us complete this. Okay, inferior goods, sorry, normal goods you understood, goods which price remains same or it has a positive relation with income. If the income increases, the demand for that good increases. If the income decreases, the demand for this good decreases. Now, what are inferior goods? Inferior goods have negative relation with income. Have negative relation. So how this goods can be explained when income increases, the demand decreases. It is having no relation with the positive relation with the income. And if even income decreases, or if the price, okay, has a negative relation with, if the price of this good increases, you can don't write income. Here you can write income, but here you have to write price. If the price of this good increases, the demand will decrease. And if the price decreases, the demand, okay, wait, I'm not, wait, my mistake. See, if the price increases, the demand increases for this good because it is having a negative relation. If the price decreases, the demand also decreases. Now, how you are going to explain? Okay. Oh, okay. That is 4 marks for assumption. Okay, we'll see the assumption also then. Okay. Okay, when you check the notes, there's an assumption written on. Okay, when you check our notes, there are assumption. You can follow assumption from there. Okay, from the notes, assumption are mentioned, so you can check assumption notes from there. Okay, other part is already explained. You can write those part. And I don't think assumption is for 4 marks. They might ask another question, but in law of marginal utility, they're not going to ask a separate question for in law of marginal utility. They are not going to ask assumptions for 4 marks and only the 2 marks for explaining the law and then explaining the graph table. That is not for 2 marks. Maybe assumption might be for 2 marks. If you are explaining law of demand, 6 marks question, the assumption will be of 2 marks. Okay, if they are asking a separate question to just tell the assumption, then it might be a 4 marks question. Okay, that you check from our app. Okay, the notes are uploaded over there. So in these certain goods, as for example, we can take gold. Now पळय जेन्ना गोल्डाची प्राइस वाढता, the demand increases in certain situation. Okay, not every time. And if the price decreases, people might make an assumption or people might think that that gold might be not proper, that goldan कितीतरी fault असू शकता, तो gold नकली असू शकता, म्हणून ते कितें demand कमी जाता in a certain cases only. Now there are some other thing also appearing, that is, okay, this color is not visible. I'll take this. Complementary goods. Now, complementary goods are the goods if the price of one good increases, the demand for both the good decreases. The demand for both the goods decreases. Okay, now for example, you can take car and petrol. If the price of petrol increases, the demand for both the goods, even for car and petrol, demand for both the goods, it will decrease. Now, substitute goods. Now, what are substitute goods? If the price of one good increases, the demand for other good डिमांड फॉर अदर गुड इन्क्रीजेस. म्हणजे कितें, इफ एक गुडाची प्राइस वाडली जाल्यार डिमांड फॉर दुसऱ्या गुडाची प्राइस इन्क्रीज जातली. फॉर एक्झाम्पल वी कॅन से सबस्टिट्यूट गुड्स टी अँड कॉफी मीन्स वी कॅन यूज इन प्लेस ऑफ ईच अदर. If the price of tea is increasing, people will avoid tea and they will start buying coffee. So the price of coffee will increase. Okay. Then we have to study from certain chapter, that is now law of supply. Also you have to explain like how you explain for law of demand. Okay, first thing you have to include is it was given by Alfred Marshall. Now you read the meaning of supply. Supply means total goods and services the producer, now the producer are coming in picture, the producer supplies at given price. That is called supply. The law of supply states that law of supply states that if the price increases, supply also increases. And if price decreases, supply also decreases. Now you can show with the tabular representation. How you are going to show with the tabular representation? Price, quantity supplied. If the price was 10, the quantity supplied was 50. If the price was 8, the quantity supplied was 60. If the price was 2, okay, the price is increasing. Now we'll show with the increase one, okay? If the price is 10, the quantity supplied will be also 10. No, we will not show 10, we'll show the proper example, okay? If the price is 10, the quantity supplied will be, okay, the price is 2, quantity supplied will be 10. If the price increases to 4, the quantity supplied will be 20. If the price increases to 6, the quantity supplied will be 30. And again, if the price increases to 8, the quantity supplied will be 40. Now this thing you have to show with the help of diagram. How you are going to show with the help of diagram? Again, y-axis, x-axis, 0. Here will be price, this will be quantity supplied. Okay, then they might be okay, in your NEP, they might be asking just graph for 3 marks or assumption maybe 4 marks, but better to prepare for 6 marks only, no? What if the question comes for that 4 or 3 marks? Okay, the price is suppose 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The quantity is supplied 10, 20, 30, 40. So if the price was 2, the quantity supplied was 10. The price was 4, the quantity supplied was 20. And if the price was 6, the quantity supplied was 30. If the price was 8, quantity supplied was 40. So this is, it is a upward going slab. Okay. Now here only your answer doesn't get over. You have to write explanation for this. And explanation I already told in 2 law how to write explanation. First you have to write y-axis represents in the given graph or in the above graph, y-axis represent the price, x-axis represent quantity supplied. When the price was 2, the quantity supplied was 10, and when the price increases to 4, the quantity supplied was 20, and when the price increases to 6, the quantity supplied was 30, and when the price was 8, the quantity supplied was 40. So from the above graph we can make a state that as the price increases, the quantity supply also increases. Okay, enough. This much point you can explain for your 6 or 4 marks question. So you are telling it for, it is for 4 marks or 6 marks. I also don't know the proper way, because in my time it was for 6 marks. I'll check the syllabus and I'll forward you all properly. Now the other thing what we have to complete is, I want to focus. Okay. Okay, now we'll take them another question, that is you have to explain government budget. What is government budget? Sources of government budget. So under government budget, you have to explain. You have to first remember that government budget is composed of two things. Government budget is composed of two things. That is public expenditure and public revenue. Okay. Now, after this, you have to remember public revenue is further divided into two parts: capital revenue, and in the capital revenue, you have to remember, and there is normal. So, okay, first you remember this part. First, I'll explain you all this what it is. So, government budget is divided in, can be government budget is the total budget for one financial year. Government budget is prepared for one financial year starting from 1st April to ending on 31st March. इतले याद रखना जाए. And then you have to remember it composed of public expenditure and public revenue. Public expenditure means all the expenditure that government incur, and these public expenditures are further classified as development expenditure, Non-development expenditure. This all you have to remember. What are development expenditure, non-development expenditure, non-development expenditure. Then plan expenditure, non-plan expenditure. Then you have to remember capital expenditure. Okay, these are the some expenditure you have to remember under public expenditure. Public revenue, I need to check in the syllabus. Then public revenue is further divided into two types of revenue. Okay, you have to remember public revenue. These are all the expenditure that government have to incur, or these are all the expenditure government have to follow. Okay, you have to study this. Now, public revenue, how the government get the money, कशे तेका पैसे गावता. So there are two things that you have to remember. It is tax revenue and non-tax revenue. Now, under tax revenue, there are two things coming. First one is direct tax. Now, direct tax. What is direct tax? Direct tax is a tax which is directly paid to the government. You can remember directly paid to government. No third party is involved. No third party is involved. Okay. Example you can give is of income tax. You know what is income tax? Tax which is deducted from your income, salary. The direct deduct jata. Third party bin kon karna. You get an income, you pay the tax. Over. No third party is involved between income tax. And what is then another direct tax? What is the second type of tax? That is indirect tax. Now, indirect tax is the opposite of this, which is not directly paid. Not directly paid. Here, there is a third party involved. For example, you can take GST, custom duty. So you all know what is GST. Generally, GST pay kata. We buy a good, we pay a GST. Now that GST we doesn't pay to government. Of course, the government को तो होता, but we are not paying it. Who is paying it on behalf of us? The person who have ज्याच्या कडे purchase केला पळय तो ह्यो वचून पे करतलो. आम्ही पे करची ना. There is a third party involvement between us and government. There is a shopkeeper who is going to pay to government. That is called non-direct tax. Sorry, indirect tax. Custom duty. Custom duty is a duty which you pay at airport. Okay, for import and export. That thing, it is custom duty. That is not important to remember that custom duty. Now, what is non-tax revenue? Other than tax, हे सगळे टॅक्स असले गव्हर्नमेंटाक पैसे येतात सारखे टॅक्स रेव्हेन्यू झाले. What are non-tax revenue? Which are not related to tax. For example, you can take fees. Certain fees we pay to government like panchayat, municipality. Certain fees आम्ही पे करता, such as जेन्ना कोण जन्मान येता तेका आमी कितें करता, बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट घेता तेजी आमी. So when we take a birth certificate, we pay a birth registration fees. Birth registration fees. Then if someone dies, we go and take a death certificate. Then we pay death registration fees. And कोण लगीन जाता, marriage registration fees. These all are the certain fees that we pay to government, and government yet पैशान revenue collect करता, and then it uses it. And the second thing, it is penalties, fines and penalties. Certain fines and penalties असतात जे that we have to pay to government if we break the rules. Certain rules are there, ते आमी follow करूंक जाय, आणि if they follow करू ना जाल्यार certain fines and penalty we have to pay. For example, RTO असता, to check that you are maintaining proper rules on the road, and if the rules break केल्यार आमकां fine and penalty pay करूंक जाय, and that money is going to government. That money is not going to any police station and all. Then another is like Okay, for example, we take electricity bill. Delay in electricity bill delay. तुम्ही समज delay करता certain bills, then they put certain fines and fees घालून दितात, and that fines fees goes to government. And the third thing is that gift and grant. Certain gifts and grants the government receive from the foreign country in the form of gifts or maybe grants म्हणजे किशे charity पासून charity, like for we give as a charity. Okay, now for a country, suppose any country is facing a problem, war asa, and the people are there facing the problem, and a certain country is supplying medicines, or certain country is supplying food, that is called grants. अशें दिता. Maybe money also they might give, gift देऊ शकता, that is called gifts and grants. Okay, this is the composition of government budget, you have to remember. Now what else you have to remember from this chapter? What else we can do? Okay, we'll check. Law of supply is done, law of demand is done, government budget is done. Okay, one more point we can study is the function of central bank. Now every country has a one central bank that is called in our country the central bank is called RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India. It is a central bank. म्हणजे ही एकूच bank असता. In every country has one central bank. Okay. So no, from India we have, okay, I'll write in a proper way. सारखे बरोबर आहे. Okay. Central bank. The one central bank of India is having only one central bank, that is RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, which is called Apex Bank. And why this bank is introduced? To maintain and regulate banking system of India. These सगळे banking transaction, banking system, all are maintained by this RBI in India. Okay, so it has certain functions. थोडे functions असता. This bank does. What are the certain functions this bank follow? First is issue currency note. Now you all will be having a question from your childhood. I had a question from my childhood की आमच्याकडे जेव्हा पैसे कसे येतात, इफ पैसे कोण प्रिंट करू शकता, can we cannot pay the print, आम्ही किती प्रिंट करू शकत ना पैसे, we can also print the money, we can also use that printed money that it is purchased by us, but असे कित्याक ना. So it is that असे असले जाल्यार everyone can be the expensive, right? Everyone will be this what do you call rich people, everyone will having money, luxurious car, this, that. So issue of currency, only the RBI has a right to issue of currency. Only RBI can issue the currency. Printed notes can be issued in RBI only. All the other banks, home, they cannot contribute in issuing the currency notes. Okay. Now the second thing, it is what? Bankers Bank. Now all the banks which are functioning in India should have one bank account in RBI. All the banks in India should have one bank account with RBI. For example, SBI should have one bank account with RBI. For example, Bank of India should have one bank account with RBI. What work it will perform. आता for example a bank have to make certain deposit with आम्ही कसे deposit करता आमच्या बँकान. So certain bank also त्यांनी deposit करूंक जाय आपले थोडे पैसे प्रॉफिटाचो थोडो share ते deposit करूंक जाय आणि RBI and also certain banks आमकां लोन दिता आणि बँक्साक लोन केन्ना जावं शकता बँक्सकाक बी लोन they also may require certain loans. Okay, तांकां लॉस जावं शकता तांकां बी लोन जाय पडू शकता. So who provide loans over them? The RBI provides loans to them. Okay. Now, government bankers, government's bankers for government, and also here you have to add a point. It maintain whether this bank is okay. That I will explain. Government banks, not a government banks, or the government also have to make an account. And certain government authorities like you have to make an account of India. आता आमकां India to bank account करूंक जाय. We cannot go and make a bank account in SBI. We cannot go and make a bank account in RBI. Sorry, we have to make an account in RBI. We cannot make the bank account in SBI. We cannot make the bank account in Bank of India. So the government have to maintain their banking system with RBI, and it provides loan to the government also. Okay. Now it also has a supervisory function. What is a supervisory function? This RBI maintains an eye on the other banks. तांकां मागीर check करता whether if these banks are following proper rules, तेंचे रेग्युलेशन सारखे आसा ते लोकांक सारखे लोन दिता सारखे इंट्रस्ट घेता इंट्रस्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्रिस्क्रायब्ड इफ सर्टन फॉर एक्झाम्पल SBI बँकाची एक्झाम्पल ओके SBI बँक तेंचे पोर्टला तेणे समज ते केला डिस्क्रायब केला 7% इंट्रस्ट but they are charged these they have to show to RBI if RBI improves it that only they are allowing certain if the RBI raketa 7% but they are charging some 14% interest and 7% they are keeping with them. So it is called a supervisory function. The bank goes and check this. If certain banks are doing this fault or certain fraud, then this RBI has a right to ban or suspend certain banks. Okay. Monitoring functions are monitor करता तेंका act as a guide monitor. Then the third one is control money system in India. Control money supply and how it control money supply. केन्ना inflation जाऊ शकता. Inflation means what? Prices वाढू शकता and certain deflation can occur when the prices are falling. So what this bank does, it controls money supply. Money supply control करता through certain quantitative measures. It is SLR, CRR, then repo rate, margin requirement. These are the certain tools that a bank RBI uses to control the money supply in India. Okay. So these are some functions of RBI you have to remember. And what are the functions of normal bank? You all know. Accepting deposits and granting loans. That is easier. That part, nothing is there to explain. What is how to go to the next page? Okay. We'll see what else is there more. We'll check the syllabus. And certain thing you have to remember under demand is this is price, this is demand. If this is the demand curve DD, and if the price increase in demand, there might be shifts. If increase zata demand, what will happen? If demand is increasing, the demand curve will shift to the right. Okay. This is called, this is quantity 1, and it's okay, this is quantity and this is quantity 1. Okay, this will be the condition of demand curve. This will be price 1 and this will be price 2. Upward shift. Okay, upward shift in price. The demand increases. Now, if the demand decreases, the demand curve will come to left. Okay, shift in left. These are some certain shifts you have to remember. And supply will be reverse of this. Okay, if increase in supply, it will shift to left. If decrease in supply, it will shift to right. Okay, all the major parts, 6 marks question, major parts from major important chapters I have covered. Now we can go, if you all are interested to get more notes and more prescribed notes, detailed notes about these entire chapters, you can go and buy the commerce pack from our after school app. It is available, and the link is already shared on the chat box. You can go through that link and buy the notes. You will get a proper prescribed notes over there, and you can try solving that notes. Okay.